over. No, we'll turn now to Mr. Rosendale from Montana for 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I will tell you that walls do work. We see them around yards, we see them around communities, and we see them around countries, and walls do work. When you have incomplete wall, when you have construction that has not been concluded, then you certainly have gaps and areas where folks can go around those walls, and therein is where we have our problem. Mr. Reynolds, what measures is the National Park Service taking to combat illegal marijuana cultivation within the national parks, and what successes have been achieved so far?
Yes, hello, Mr. Rosendale. This is a pretty active cooperative venture that we do, again, with our colleagues in the Forest Service, in particular in Western Parks, as well as state and local sheriff folks like that. We are continuously finding, mapping, doing intel, finding these places. I can tell you from experience I had in Yosemite, we would helicopter these things out if we could. We deal with poisons that are left behind. So they are, and others have mentioned there are cartels, so there's danger to the hiking public and things like that. So we're very, very serious about it. We don't do it alone, and we ask all of our partners, state and local, federal, to.
So do you have any kind of numbers as far as the amount of area that you've been able to remove these cultivated plants from, or the number of plants or anything like that, and how that trajectory has looked over the last 5 years or so?
I know we'll have those numbers, and I will get those to you very quickly, but I don't have them handy in front of me, Mr. Rosendale.
Very good, very good. Can you provide statistics on the number of illegal marijuana grows discovered within the national parks since the start of the Biden administration in 21? If you don't have those, if you can include that with the balance of
We will
information.
do that. I'm sorry I wasn't prepared for that, but we'll get it to you right away.
It's okay, thank you. Could you describe the coordination process between the National Park Service and the Department of Homeland Security with regard to the border crossings in national parks situated near the U.S.-Canada border, such as Glacier National Park?
Yeah, we definitely work with the Border Patrol folks, just as we do on the southern border. We're not aware, nor are there reports when we looked into this week about problems at Glacier, but there's a vigilance to it and a cooperative venture, just like the southern border. It's much like Mr. French described, there's the different stationing of our law enforcement folks along with CBT. We let them do the immigration work, right? And we follow up on resource damage or humanitarian help and aid as they ask.
Have you seen any type of an increase over the last 3 years since the Biden administration has taken over?
Not in the northern boundary. We haven't seen much of an increase at all.
That natural barrier called climate seems to be helping us a lot up there on the northern border. One thing that I'm really concerned with, we had a hearing in here 2 weeks ago about the Floyd Bennett Field, okay, the national park up there in New York, and it was very telling to me to have city council members who were sitting here, bipartisan, Republicans, Democrats, talking about the problems that building that facility would pose on their community, not only from a safety aspect, but from a lack of infrastructure aspect, and then from what it was going to do to their local economy of having this population of young males there with not a lot to do and to be able to just wander around. What bothered me is, in addition to that, was the fact that we were going to be taking one of our national parks, something that, quite frankly, all taxpayers have an investment in. We invest in those properties by keeping the infrastructure up. It's an investment in the country because it doesn't have a tax base, so we are literally subsidizing those areas. And then to have people located there for extended periods of time, a year, 2 year, we don't really have a deadline, a proposed deadline on their occupation, if you will, when an American citizen is only allowed to stay there for 14 days at a time. Do you have any kind of opinion about the impact of long-term relocation of illegal immigrants on the national park system?
Not an immigration expert at all. We leave that to the Department of Homeland Security as well as, in this case,
let's leave the
city.
immigration end of it out,
Yep.
okay? A
So-
long-term occupation of a population of
Understood.
individuals
Yep.
in the national park.
In this case, which is listed publicly, we've got a lease for this situation. In other words, the property, a section of this 1,300 acres is what makes Floyd Bennett Field, about 20 acres, have been leased to the city. The lease requires them to improve and benefit the park through various projects. So it totals somewhere between 12 to 14 million for those projects. So in this case, there is a very, very carefully thought through plan on the runways where the camp is and trying to maintain and keep open everything that Floyd Bennett Field has. We, keep an eye on us.
So
We'll
what
keep-
is
we'll
the,
keep
so
watching
what
it.
is the, okay, that's all the data about what's actually going to happen, and we know what is going to happen. What I'm trying to determine is what is the impact on that facility as opposed to the people that had been going there before. I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, I see that I did go over
Yeah.
my
We'll let
time.
the witness
I'll yield back.
answer.
Yep. We, short answer, Congressman Rosendale, is it's a very defined area on a tarmac, on a runway, a historic runway, and we tried to avoid all the heavy use areas of Floyd Bennett Field.
I'll have follow-ups for you, just in case. Mr. Lamalfa from California is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman Gosar. Appreciate it, and to our witnesses for being here. So